I am Jay, your strange, the unexplained, the paranormal, true crime, the weird, the wild, the wacky. My co-hosts Katie Cat and Jack are not here tonight. They are both off doing other things. They have some other things going on. I don't know exactly what, but we'll have them back next week. In the meantime, there's been a lot going on with these hearings with the Senate, and I'm talking about the UAP hearings. What is a UAP, you might ask? Well, that is when the government tries to come in and change our beloved terminology that we used to call them UFOs. Now it's UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. Do 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 phenomena. Do 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 do. Well, anyway, let's see what we have for these hearings.
Um, in the discussions, it's simply about material, or is there discussion about it was previously testified that there was biologics that were collected. Are you aware of any of that?
I am, sir, aware of the.
You may recognize Mr. Elizondo. That is Louis Elizondo. He is the whistleblower that worked for the government. He was in the military and he worked for the government, top secret stuff. And now he is whistleblowing. He's written some books and he is here on the committee floor to discuss UAPs. I know, Dave, I am going to get Peter on. I was trying to schedule with him and I had some stuff coming up that day. I need to get a hold of him this week and try to get him on. I'm going to try to get him this week or next week if I can. For sure. I want to have him on, but I want to do that a live show with an event. So I need to tack it down when I have no other obligations because I want Peter to be able to do readings for people live.
Reporting that biologics have been recovered. Again, my focus was more nuts and bolts, looking at the physical aspects of these phenomenon, how they interacted around military equities and nuclear equities. So I'm certainly not a medical expert. I would not be able to probably provide you a whole lot of value in that simply because I don't have the expertise.
But was anything described as that we have possession of bodies?
Yes.
We have is it multiple types of creatures or?
Sir, I couldn't answer that. I can tell you anecdotally that it was discussed quite a bit when I was at the Pentagon. The problem is the supposed collection of these biological samples occurred before my time, in fact, before I was even born.
And was this part of the Lockheed Martin discussion, or was this the biologics is a completely separate?
Separate yet related.
Okay. Has anyone made contact?
Sir, I'm sorry, could you specify?
Has there been any, to your knowledge, any communication with a non-human life form?
So the term communication is a bit of a trick word because there's verbal communication like we're having now. The problem is you also have nonverbal communication. And so I would say definitively yes, but from a nonverbal meaning, when a Russian reconnaissance aircraft comes into U.S. airspace, we scramble two F-22s, and we are certainly communicating intent and capability. I think the same goes with this. We have these things that are being observed over controlled U.S. airspace, and they're not really doing a good job hiding themselves. They're making it pretty obvious they have the ability to even interfere with our nuclear equities and our nuclear readiness.
Now, what we have here is men testifying under oath to Congress about UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon, and things like that. And they just directly said under oath that there is life, that they do have biologics. In other words, aliens, okay? That's what they're saying. Is I'm not trying to say it's aliens, but it's aliens. Now, we have Mr. Schellenberger here, his testimony, part of his testimony. I have no idea who this fellow is, but I know he's writing a book as well. I believe these guys are all writing books, is what's happening here. So do with that what you will. By the way, guys, before we get into this, I would like to show you this new background. This comes from our buddy Dave. It's a photo he took of the moon, and he's letting us use it as our new background. So we're using it as our logo. You'll see this on branding on our YouTube channel here pretty soon. I just want to make sure that it looks perfect. Anyway, back to where we're at here.
We have a right to know what UAPs are, no matter what they are. However, we now have existing and former U.S. government officials who have told Congress that AARO and the Pentagon have broken the law by not revealing a significant body of information about UAPs, including military intelligence databases that have evidence of their existence as physical craft. One of those individuals is a current or former U.S. government official acting as a UAP whistleblower. This person has written a report. This is the report that says the executive branch has been managing UAP NHI issues without congressional knowledge, oversight, or authorization for for some time, quite possibly decades.
I want to see that report. I wonder if I can just pull that report up now that it's public. I wonder if it's actually available to the public because they bring it up here, or if this goes into a closed door committee. Because when it comes to things like this, especially when our government is no longer just denying flatly that these things exist, I think they are at a certain degree. They're not clarifying whether or not they know what it is, so they're allowing these testimonies to happen. I think that's a big part of it. And it's not exactly disclosure, but this usually happens right before the crap hits the fan, or if they're trying to ignore something big, it seems like.
Furthermore, these individuals have revealed the name of an active and highly secretive DoD Unacknowledged Special Access Program, or USAP. The source of that document told me, that the USAP is a strategic intelligence program that is part of the U.S. military family of long-standing, highly sensitive programs dealing with various aspects of the UAP problem. The new UAP whistleblower claims that the U.S. military and IC database includes videos and images taken using infrared, forward-looking infrared, full-motion video, and still photography. The report that was just shared with Congress says Immaculate Constellation serves as a central or parent USAP that consolidates observations of UAPs by both tasked and untasked collection platforms. Immaculate Constellation includes high-quality imagery intelligence and measurement and signature intelligence of UAPs, the whistleblower's report adds. The sources of this intelligence are a blend of directed and incidental collection capabilities, positioned in low Earth orbit, the upper atmosphere, as well as military and civilian aviation altitudes and maritime environments. The report to Congress details in detail various UAPs, including spheres, orbs, disks, saucers, ovals, triangles, boomerang, arrowhead, and irregular organic. The report describes various incidents found in the human intelligence databases. One involved orbs surrounding and forcing an F-22 out of its
Kev, I think so.
In another incident, the crew of a Navy aircraft carrier watched a small orange-red sphere rapidly descend from a high altitude of 100 to 200 yards directly above the flight deck of the CVN, or aircraft carrier. And since my reporting on this Immaculate Constellation last month, another source came forward who told me that they saw a roughly 13-minute-long, high-definition, full-color video of a white orb UAP coming out of the ocean approximately 20 miles off the coast of Kuwait. It was filmed from a helicopter. Then halfway through the video, the person said the orb is joined by another orb that briefly comes into the frame from the left before rapidly moving again out of the frame. The person discovered the video on SIPR, the Secure Internet Protocol Router Network, which the DoD uses to transmit classified information. A leading UAP researcher who utilizes the Freedom of Information Act to find out what the government knows, John Greenwald, told me last year that the U.S. government had been increasingly denying his requests for UAP information. He has been doing FOIA requests for 27 years and has an archive of 3 million pages. The government has for decades denied any interest in UFOs, he told me, but the documents that he has assembled show that behind the scenes, it was a completely different story.
So here's what I wonder. Because it says that they're denying his FOIA requests. So that would mean one of two things. They're either denying it, that usually means there's a national security issue or something currently classified that they cannot release for the sake of national security or for other issues, other reasons. There are reasons where they can not give in to a FOIA request or accept a FOIA request. The other option is that they just don't have anything. And there's no answer to the FOIA request. They're not getting any documents because there's no documents because they don't care. But if there are really crafts and evidence, like Mr. Elizondo said, he worked directly with some of this stuff accordingly, then, there would obviously be military involvement. There's no way our military and our government's not involved in this if it's happening in the United States.
Contrary to the hopes of many advocates of transparency, the government has been restricting more information since the leak of 3 UAP videos in 2017. The DoD organization AARO has been labeling many documents with a B7 exemption, which Greenwald says does not make any sense.
Okay, so let me know, guys, in chat what you're thinking about this so far. I find it pretty interesting. Anytime we do these hearings, it seems like we don't ever get anything out of it, but sometimes we do. And when we do, it's a real crack. It's fun stuff. So there's like old stuff from Lazar, but here is some Nancy Mace on one of the UAP hearings.
This 12-page document.
Let's just start it over here, and I'll pull it up because I want to get this in here too. This is all from the same hearings. I think it's still going on.
ASAP asked me to go ahead and I will do it to enter into the congressional record this 12-page document that Michael Schellenberger brought today that describes the Immaculate Constellation government program. So we will do that now. Every member up here has a copy of it. The first section talks about the unacknowledged special access program called Immaculate Constellation, and the second section about USG imagery intelligence.
Immaculate
and,
Constellation.
Representative Luna just told me if I say Immaculate Constellation, I'll be on some list. Maybe a FISA warrant, so come at me, bro, I guess. Without objection.
That's funny.
And I would now, committee staff asked me to go ahead and I will do it.
Come at me, bro. I don't know if she's calling him out like we're talking about this because we're not supposed to. Now the American people need to know. I don't know if that's the case. Here's another one that's going on.
Or otherwise to speculate points of origin.
Okay, so this is another one with Lou again. This is from this one. I think that was from a different one.
Ma'am, I'm not qualified, certainly as a scientist or otherwise, to speculate points of origin. I looked at everything from a scientific perspective. So if you look at, for example, instantaneous acceleration, which was one of the observables of the program that I belong to, ATIC, the human body can withstand about 9 G-forces for a short period of time before you suffer negative biological consequences, blackouts, and ultimately redouts and even death. Comparison, our best technology, the F-16, which is an older platform, but one of our most highly maneuverable aircraft, manned aircraft, made by General Dynamics, can perform about 17 or 18 G-forces before you start having structural.
I mean, yeah, they gotta like to have fun with it, right, Kev?
Disintegrate while you're flying. The vehicles we're talking about are performing in excess of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 Gs.
So can you speak on that at all?
I wonder if I can find like the full video of these conversations because we're getting tidbits and pieces here. And I would rather just have the UAP hearings up. Because I know there are. I know that they're there for sure. Is it still live? Oh my God. I'm not going to watch the whole 2-hour thing, guys. I'm going to tell you that right now. But I might watch the whole 2-hour thing. I'm not going to subject you guys to watching the whole 2 hours of C-SPAN. No, of course. No, don't do that. Oh my God, I hate that. So many advertisements. No advertisements. Bad advertisements. How do I mute that? There we go. Play through. Oh my Lord. This is what I get for not doing this stuff with an ad blocker running. Anyway, once it's up, we'll go. And we'll switch over. 2 seconds of that's not going to get me a copyright strike. Anything past that would have got me in trouble. That's why I hate these commercials so much.
Next, a joint hearing on government research into unidentified anomalous phenomena. Independent journalist Michael Schellenberger testifies on what he alleges is a secret government
that's who
program
Schellenberger is. That's right, he's a journalist.
Immaculate Constellation, and a
new
report
cool name,
by an
yeah.
anonymous whistleblower that government agencies withheld evidence from the public. Other witnesses include former Defense Department and NASA officials. This is 2 hours.
This is 2 hours. This is a warning. We're not going to watch a full 2 hours, guys. This is pre-recorded.
Good morning. This joint hearing of the Subcommittee on Cybersecurity, Information Technology, and Government Innovation and the Subcommittee on National Security, the Border, and Foreign Affairs will come to order. Good morning and welcome, everyone. Without objection, the chair may declare a recess at any time, and I recognize myself for the purpose of making an opening statement right now. Good morning and welcome to today's historic hearing, which I'm co-chairing with Mr. Grothman, whose subcommittee held an important hearing on this topic last year. I want to thank my colleagues on the Oversight Committee, including Mr. Burchett, Mr. Burleson, Ms. Luna, Mr. Moskowitz, Mr. Garcia, for their relentless drive to get answers on UAPs. They've been steadfast in demanding transparency on the sightings reported by our military pilots and armed forces. Their commitment to digging for the truth is exactly what this country needs to cut through the secrecy surrounding this issue.
Dude, I know this is going to be a weird take, but Nancy Grace is kind of a Betty, bro.
Communities believe UAPs demand greater attention and thus the purpose for this hearing today. Former National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster said on Bill Maher's program that, quote, there are phenomena that have been witnessed by multiple people that are just inexplicable by the science available to us.
Thank God it was said on Bill Maher. Oh, we can all rest easy now that it was reported on Bill Maher. Now we know it's aliens. Bro.
Army Colonel Carl Nell, a member of the federal government UAP task force, said at a conference this past May that non-human intelligence exists. Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity. This interaction is not new, and it's been ongoing, and there are unelected people in the government that are aware of that. But UAPs remain a controversial topic. I'm not going to name names, but there are certain individuals who didn't want this hearing to happen because they feared what might be disclosed. But we stood
Lizard
firm.
people.
No amount of outside pressure would
Bill
ever
has
keep
scoop.
me from pursuing a subject to ground come hell or high water. On that score, I want to thank our witnesses for being here. We have before us a panel of individuals accomplished in the military, in civilian government, in science, and in journalism. Some of the testimony you will hear them deliver today does not reflect well on influential individuals and agencies within the U.S. federal government.
Can I just tell you, I never thought it would be the Republican Party that would be the ones like fighting to get, good disclosure from the government. I mean, I can see the average Republican person, but not like the people in power. So it's kind of a breath of fresh air to see an actual politician want to get the truth out to the community that so many people in our community of the UFOlogy thing coming out. People have been saying this stuff for years, and they've been treated like crackpots. And now the government's not even denying at all anymore. So anytime someone got made fun of for believing in UFOs or UAPs or things like that, now we can say, you know what? The government says that these things are happening. We don't know all the details yet, is what they're saying. But these things are happening. So we got to look back on some of those folks that we heard information from that had experiences with UFOs or saw these UFO video or UFOs in person. They had these encounters and stuff like that. We have to now approach that a little more objectively because they're not just kooks anymore. We can no longer say that. That's off the table. The last few years with these hearings being clear and brought to light that something else is going on, we can no longer sit by and just say, no, there's no way there's aliens. People are just nuts. They're wearing tinfoil hats. They just think there's fluoride in the water. So it's kind of interesting how the tides have turned in recent years with the internet and stuff. And I think it's a big part of it.
And perhaps some of our contractors. It's never easy to present such information publicly. So I appreciate our witnesses voluntarily agreeing to being here today. This hearing is intended to help Congress and the American people to learn the extent of the programs and activities our government has engaged in with respect to UAPs and what knowledge it has yielded. This includes, of course, any knowledge of extraterrestrial life or technology of non-human origin. If government-funded research on UAPs has not yielded any useful knowledge, we also need to know those facts. Taxpayers deserve to know how much has it been invested, how much has been spent.
Okay, so there are points of interest here. Let's see.
Cadre within our own government involved in the UAP topic has created a culture of suppression and intimidation.
Let's go back just a little bit further here.
Not made by our government or any other government.
Needed to address the broader implications.
Introduce our witness, Gallaudet, to please begin your opening remarks.
There we go. Sorry about that. We're here.
Thank you, Chairwoman Mace, Chairman Grothman, Ranking Members Connolly and Garcia, and members of the committee. Thank you for this opportunity to testify today regarding unidentified anomalous
This is a rear admiral.
UAP. Confirmation that UAPs are real came to me in January of 2015 when I was serving as the commander of the Navy Meteorology and Oceanography Command. At the time, my personnel were participating in a pre-deployment naval exercise off the U.S. East Coast. It included the USS Theodore Roosevelt Carrier Strike Group, and this exercise was overseen by the United States Fleet Forces Command, led by a 4-star admiral who at the time was also my superior officer. During this exercise, I received an email on the Navy's secure network from the operations officer of U.S. Fleet Forces Command. The email was addressed to all the subordinate commanders, and the subject line read in all capital letters, urgent safety of flight issue. The text of the email was brief but alarming, with words to the effect, "If any of you know what these are, tell me ASAP. We are having multiple near mid-air collisions, and if we do not resolve this soon, we are going to have to shut down the exercise." Attached to the email is what is now known as the Go Fast video, captured on the forward-looking infrared sensor of one of the Navy F-A-18 aircraft participating in the exercise. The now declassified video showed an unidentified object
Yeah, the Go
exhibiting
Fast
flight
video is
and
crazy.
structural characteristics unlike anything in our arsenal. The implication of the email was clear. The author was asking whether any of the recipients were aware of classified technology demonstrations that could explain these objects. Because the DoD policy is to rigorously deconflict such demonstrations with live exercises, I was confident this was not the case. The very next day, that email disappeared from my account and those of the other recipients without explanation.
Oh, that's
Moreover,
interesting.
The commander of Fleet Forces Command and the operations officer never discussed the subject. Even during weekly meetings specifically designed to address issues affecting exercises like the one in which the Theodore Roosevelt Strike Group was participating. This lack of follow-up was very concerning to me. As the Navy's chief meteorologist at the time, I was responsible for reducing safety of flight risks. Yet it appeared to me that no one at the flag officer level was addressing the safety risk posed by UAPs. Instead, pilots were left to mitigate these threats on their own without guidance or support. I concluded
Nice.
that UAP information must have been classified within a special access program managed by an intelligence agency. That is a compartmented program that even senior officials, including myself, were not read into. Last year's UAP hearing before this oversight committee confirmed that UAP-related information is being withheld from senior officials and members of Congress. And just this week, I learned from former DoD official Chris Mellon that satellite imagery of UAP from a few years ago still has not been shared with Congress. Equally concerning, last year's UAP hearing also revealed that elements of the government are engaged in a disinformation campaign to include personal attacks designed to discredit UAP whistleblowers.
So, okay, that's some shadow government stuff right there. When you have unelected people, unelected officials making decisions on behalf of the whole country, they are not elected, they're just there as a job, and they've decided that for whatever purpose, they're just not disclosing this information to people that have every right to have access to it. That's not great. Look at some of the folks in the gallery, though. This gal in the glasses behind him, man. She doesn't look thrilled. I wonder if she knows some things. I'm looking at the looks on some of these folks' faces, wondering who's involved with what. You have Shifty Eyes back here looking to the side like he's going to be making these guys not testify anymore, if you know what I mean.
Having never signed
I'm just
a
kidding.
non-disclosure agreement
I'm just
regarding
kidding.
UAPs, and now
The
as
guy's
a
probably
private
fine.
citizen, I've become an advocate for greater UAP transparency from the government. The continued overclassification surrounding UAPs has not only hindered our ability to effectively address these phenomena, but has also eroded trust in our institutions. While I applaud previous bipartisan legislation passed by Congress concerning UAPs, a more comprehensive approach is needed to address the broader implication of UAP on public safety and national security, as well as the socio-economic opportunities that open UAP research could unlock. Therefore, I recommend Congress take the following action, which I believe will receive bipartisan support. First, establish robust oversight of the executive branch's management of UAP information by directing key officials, beginning with the director of the DoD's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, to provide comprehensive briefings on what the government knows about UAP and does not know. 2, enact the provisions of the UAP Disclosure Act that establish a UAP Records Review Board to ensure independent oversight, transparency, and accountability in the government's handling of UAP information. And 3, strengthen the UAP Disclosure Act and future reauthorizations with provisions that mandate a whole-of-government approach to addressing UAP. In closing, I will share my personal reasons for speaking out on this topic. First, as a former science agency leader, having led the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, I've always sought the truth in human knowledge and thought. Now that we know UAP are interacting with humanity, and these include unidentified submerged objects in the ocean, we should not turn a blind eye, but instead boldly face this new reality and learn from it. Additionally, at a time when leaders in government leave much to be desired, I feel obligated to show moral leadership on this issue of UAP disclosure by validating the credibility of the courageous men and women who have come out as witnesses and whistleblowers to expose the truth. My speaking out has encouraged others to do the same, and it's my hope over time that a number of your constituents will want to know the truth and about UAP, and this number will increase to such an extent that the congressional action I've just recommended will become inevitable. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
So, for the YouTube channel right now, this is going to be the end of this part, and then I'm going to put another part up later, so we'll do the intro again, guys. If you're live, stick with me. It has been Jay, and thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next episode where we continue this from where we left off.